time to get spicy. The rumor mill is churning. Churn, baby, churn. All right. We got a top receiver that may or may not, but may become a New York Jet. Time to talk the facts. Time to see everything right after this intro, right here, right now. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy James Wudi, and we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. And you already know this man, okay? He is the boy who became king, none other than Boy Green himself. How you doing, my good sir?
People said, we were down. Sunday, Jets lose 10-9. We're like, people saying the season's over. Well, we're back, baby. Just when they thought we were out, they pull us back in. And this juicy Davante Adams stuff. Whoa, baby, we've talked about this before, but some new fresh material today has me feeling all types of way. By the way, let me flip the light switch. 31 members away from MFC getting his emoji, baby. And now my only real question for you, Wudi, is this. What happens first? Davante Adams becomes a Jet or MFC gets his emoji? Only God knows, baby. Only God knows.
Well, I feel like since this season started, there's been two names that we keep talking about over and over and over and over. Hassan Reddick, is he showing up? And Davante Adams, is he going to be a Jet? You may be surprised on my sentiment toward this situation, but let's roll the footage. Let's roll the footage. What has started? What has put us on this path today? Well, James Palmer, right? The NFL insider had a juicy little nugget. So let's roll the tape.
Let's look at the teams that they could potentially be in play here, honestly. And we could go through all the teams, but let's just go through some front runners I believe are front runners. Obviously, there's the connection with the Jets, and there's been issues. Obviously, we saw it against the Broncos in a way that offense was not in sync entirely with Rodgers and his receiving core. You saw it during the 2-minute at the end of the game, not really being on the same page, some frustration there, high expectations. They're in a small Super Bowl window right now with a 40-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. How do you fix some of those communication and being on the same page type issues? You bring in a receiver to go next to Garrett Wilson that knows Aaron Rodgers inside and out and could fix some of those things. We just say this right now. I know everybody's going to say contractually, money-wise, how does that all work? Teams find a way. Like, money can be moved. If the Raiders are eager enough, they'll eat some. All of these things can be manipulated money-wise. The point is he doesn't have any guarantees after this year. So you can move some things however you want if you really want a trade to get done. Let's just put that out there. So obviously the Jets are a team to keep an eye on because of the things I just listed. And teams' situations are always extremely important in these things. And the Jets situation right now is we need to win this year for a lot of people's sake.
The Raiders couldn't even eat some of the money to facilitate a deal? Good Lord, have mercy. I mean, that is unbelievable. And by the way, I'll throw it up on the screen so people can see some of those finances, because we all talk about the magic cap fairy and how that affects everybody. Here it is from Spot Trek. They just tweeted this out earlier today. The acquiring team, if they traded Jets or any team, acquired Las Vegas receiver Davante Adams, he is owed right now at this moment in time $13.5 million for the rest of this season. At the deadline, it's $8.6 million. You may say to yourself, why is there a gap? NFL players are paid on a check-to-check basis, a game check-to-game check basis, and it's prorated. Obviously, if the Jets acquired him at the deadline, they wouldn't owe him 17 games of salary. They would only owe him salary for the remaining weeks ready, which is why there's a disparity between what the Jets, Raiders, or any team would owe him now as opposed to the deadline. And obviously, you can see the next 2 years, if you can see it on your screen, 2025, he's owed $36.25 million. Blah. And then in 2026, he's owed the same thing. But it's important to note both of those years are non-guaranteed. So either Davante could be a one-year rental for somebody where you just grab this piece, you try to win, or that could be a part of the trade where it's renegotiated as a different part of the deal. But damn, James Palmer saying that if the Raiders are eager enough that they could even eat some of the money. Maybe that's rampant speculation, but I have not heard that part of the equation that they would be potentially willing to do that. That is fascinating. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets need him. You watched that game and you said, "Oh, the first thing we need is a receiver." Is that what you saw on Sunday, Boy Green?
Let me tell you. So I did a show this morning on Boy Green Daily, shameless self-promotion, and the breadth, because every show kind of has a central theme, and then all hell breaks loose when the phone lights up. We could go in all kinds of directions. And I said on the show this morning, like, damn, the Jets clearly need a pass rusher. And I had people in the comments immediately, Paul, you're an idiot. The defense held the Broncos to 10 points. That's not the issue. Blee, blah, blue, blah, blee. And for those people, I just say, leave your narrow, blinded, room and get some air. Take a walk outside, because the season is not the Denver Broncos. The season is the rest of the season. The Minnesota Vikings, the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Rams, and the Seahawks, and all these other gosh darn teams are going to play. When I say they need a pass rusher, I'm not specifically talking about in a game where they only gave up 10 points. They still found a way to lose, even though they didn't have any sacks. And the only player on the entire defensive line that registered a pressure was Will McDonald, and he registered 4. No one else had a single pressure. So I do believe it was an issue there, but it kind of goes back to your point. Like, Paul, did you watch the game and say, we need a receiver? Well, yes, Xavier Gibson on one of the game-deciding plays was thrown a back shoulder pass. That wouldn't have happened if Davante Adams out there. Also, Mike Williams probably should have been utilized a little more. I think Xavier Gibson is a nice gadgety piece. Okay on special teams, and every once in a while, here's a cute little jet sweep. Oh, that was nice. But as a full-fledged member of this offense, of being in there when the game matters most, hell no. No, thank you. So X, get your X ass over there on the bench and take a nice seat. So I'm unloading a lot on you like it's a therapy session, that I'm blaming you for things I heard earlier. But no, the pass rusher thing, sure. Is that the number one thing they need? Is wide receiver the number one thing they need? Maybe not. But it's an important piece of the puzzle that when we're looking through the breadth of the season and the things that are coming up on the docket, and one of the big issues with Garrett is that he's not on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. Well, someone we know is on the same page is Davante Adams. So if you don't mind, you played a video clip. You paid off the production people in the back room to play clips I'm not even aware of. They just jump up on the screen. Well, let me do this. Let me play a clip here on the show.
Guy, he may be in a huddle and he'll tell you in a 2-minute situation at the end of the game, 46 seconds left in the game, and they'll say, hey, Tay or Garrett, you remember back in 2022 when we got that one look and you didn't look quick enough. I need you to just get your eyes around quick. So, filing that away in your memory bank, dealing with the elephant, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. You got to be able to recall and correct some of those mistakes.
Davante, I think you miss him.
How could you not? How could you not?
Just hearing you talk about him, it's an amazing thing that I just think you missed him. That's all.
So you're saying that would help? A guy who's on the same page and all pro?
But yeah, I understand you're on this crusade to just have the Jets be the oldest team in the NFL. I understand all that, but
ageist, nice.
I'm not. But I just don't see it as a need. I think Garrett Lazard and Mike Will have been solid.
They have
They've actually been good. They've been good, and Mike will only get better. To give up
Garrett
pieces.
Wilson's been good. Garrett Wilson's been good. Come on, man.
All right, let's go back
on,
to
man.
solid for Garrett. Let's go back to solid for Garrett. Solid. He's been solid. But he's also, he's drawn some tough matchups. That's not going to happen the rest of the season. Is that not
That's
true?
a lame excuse. He's Garrett freaking Wilson, man.
He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson confirmed that in the offseason, didn't he? Or a couple weeks ago. I know Garrett Wilson. People said, ooh. Nope, he's not. He's not. But come on, man. We have talked up Garrett Wilson as this dynamic number one wide receiver that all he needed was a quarterback to take opportunities. And you want to know what it's been since? Excuses. Well, he's had a tough corner matchup. Well, people are double teaming him. It's kind of weird. Davante Adams, when he was with Aaron Rodgers, they probably knew who Davante Adams was. They probably double teamed him a few times. He probably had a few tough cornerback matchups. Guess what he did? He still friggin' produced. So Garrett Wilson, if he's the guy that we all pretended and said he was going to be, he needs to step up to the plate. And it's true. It's an uncomfortable conversation. Garrett Wilson has friggin' sucked this year. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why he's not on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why he hasn't been able to create the same separation he has seemingly been able to do with all the crappy quarterbacks we've had over the last couple of years. Right now, if we're being real, Garrett Wilson has not played like this bona fide number one wide receiver. Wudi, I'm surprised you're not doing a sprinkler dance right now. The number one wide receiver on the Jets is Alan Lazard right now, and I don't think it's been close. He has been terrific. He has been by far the most consistent, and maybe part of it's not even like Mike Williams' fault, who obviously hasn't played a ton until we're getting deeper and deeper. But like, let's be real, man. Garrett Wilson's not stepped up to the plate. There's not been a guy that has forced opponents and defenses to go, oh snap, where's Garrett Wilson? He's done diddly this year. Diddly.
Yeah, and this is again what you said before with the Max Crosby thing of looking to the past versus looking to the future. As early as next week, things can get easier for Garrett Wilson, and I personally think they will. I don't think it's worth trading away picks, trading potentially people. Then you pay all that. Oh my God, we talking about two players worth for. Come on, man, get out of here.
You're talking about the future.
If we're talking about Max Crosby, oh my God, then sign me up. I will. Every pen that I have, I will sign on the dotted line James Wudi for Max Crosby because that's what actually is needed. But there is no wide receiver deficit in this room. It's actually embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
There's no deficit in this room.
Coming for.
There is no deficit in this wide receiver room. Wudi, I have not seen you wear glasses before, but you might want to invest in a pair. How in God's green earth can you say that after what we've seen? The X is on the okay. Explain that to me. How is Xavier Gibson on the field and he has thrown a back shoulder throw when it matters most? Why was X on the field?
What do you mean? Aaron loves his slot guys, right? Little Randall Cobb out there, Randall Cobb 2.0, and they were on different pages. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying about the receiver room as a whole. They got multiple competent receivers.
Who is competent?
What do you mean? Who is competent? Okay. Alan Lazard, right? Came back from dead like a phoenix, right through the ashes. Mike Will getting healthier every day. Garrett Will.
Okay, let's talk about Garrett Wilson.
Overreacting to a small subset of games.
A month? That's a small sample size. It's a quarter of the season, man. That's a significant enough. Here are the stats for Garrett Wilson.
Less than a quarter. It's less than a quarter.
Okay, it's a month of the season. Here are his stats through the first month of the season: 60 yards, 57 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards. That's Garrett Wilson's numbers. And you're going to tell me that he's faced the four best corners in football? Is that why he's put up those marginal numbers? Of course not.
Four of the top seven. Yeah. What are you talking about?
But we don't use those excuses for Davante Adams and say, damn, he had a tough match. Justin Jefferson, damn, he had a tough match. Why is Garrett Wilson operating at a different standard than any other top flight wide receiver? Why?
I mean,
so what if it's a tough matchup? Suck it up. Make a play.
Because he's not top five in the he's not a top
what is
five
he?
receiver.
Where were you going to put him? So he's not top five. Where is he? Top what? Top 10, top 15, top 20, top 30? Where's Garrett Wilson?
He's a better receiver than Rashee Rice, who keeps winning Super Bowls. That's the end goal, is that we're trying to win Super Bowls. We don't need the top receiver in order to accomplish this goal. That's a fact. What do you mean? Why are you looking at me like that? Well, that's an absolute fact.
All right, let's make sure. I want to make sure we don't get too deep in here, although we have 500 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, keep the comment section flowing. We're also 31 members away from MFC getting his emoji, so keep the conversation going in the comments. Some would ask, like, whoa, what sudden? Like, we've talked about, to Wudi's point at the beginning of the show, we've talked about this Davante Adams thing for like ever. What suddenly happened today? I think there are two updates that are certainly worth mentioning on that front beyond what James Palmer said, and we appreciate James Palmer's contributions to today's show. But here was one of the big things, is that the Las Vegas Raiders changed their stance on a trade. Here is Vincent Bonsignor, French perhaps, I don't know, but he covers the Las Vegas Raiders for Vegas Nation, the Review Journal out there in Vegas. Here was his quote at 12:30 when I was on my way home from the radio station. More on this to come. A league source with knowledge of the situation confirmed that the Raiders are growing open to the idea of trading Davante Adams. The source said the club has begun reaching out to teams to gauge their interest in the veteran wide receiver. And so that's all from today. That's fresh from today. Also, Connor Hughes said way back when, if the Raiders ever did what we're just talking about that they're doing, that the Jets would be in the conversation. That was Connor Hughes a while back. That's not fresh. But here's the other thing. Davante Adams was on Kay Adams. We played one of the clips earlier. And she asked him a very interesting question about his future in Las Vegas. I'll let you guys determine what you believe happened here with Davante Adams. Let's roll the tape. This is from Up and Adams.
And what I'm hearing is that here's a lot of people think you may never play another down as a Raider. What would you say to that?
All I can control is this talk we're having right here, and then after we're done with this, all I can control is the next thing that I'm on to. So I'm gonna get up in a minute and get a nice workout in, and that's all I can control.
31 teams are about to go at 32, including you're just gonna. Here's the thing: you have the chance to shut the door, but it's not. This is what I'm hearing from Davante. It's not about you. It's you are settled, and you're on to the next. And there's a lot more going on. I hope you hear from your coach today.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you. Oh, boy. Thank you, Davante Adams. Appreciate you. Feel better, most importantly.
I do, too. And for those who missed that saga in the Davante Adams story, Antonio Pierce, because why wouldn't an NFL head coach be on Instagram? He liked to comment insinuating that Davante Adams is not long for Vegas. Of course, that blows up on social media. Davante's asked about it. He's like, oh, I hadn't heard anything about that. And Kay Adams asked him earlier, have you heard from the Pierce or the Raiders or anything like that's a nonsense story or anything? He's like, no, haven't heard from. Oh boy. So while we could continue to argue about Davante Adams, and we should, I just want to make sure that all the groundwork is laid, that this is why this story is popping right now in this moment in time, is that the Raiders have changed their stance. They're open to a trade. And all of the bubbling that's been happening of the Jets being listed as a front runner and all this possibility. So let's get into compensation. We could get into a lot of different levels, and I don't want you to feel left out at all with anything we're going to talk about. But I think an important piece to this puzzle is, of course, what's it going to cost to acquire Davante Adams, even if the Jets do? Wudi, you tell me what either you think it's going to cost or what it will cost. Feel free. Let's start there.
Well, I definitely don't know what it will cost because I'm not in the know. So the only thing I can provide
too bad.
Is what I was
hoping for that scoop. Okay. All right.
I really just hope. I hope and pray it is not. It is 0 first round picks because that
I agree. Yes, I agree. Yes.
But I don't know. I feel like they could. He's paid top dollar. His name is his name. But I hope they could just look. If they're looking at his, driver's license, I hope they can just, go past his name and look at his birth date, because he is an old man.
Old man.
One of the oldest men.
He's 31. He's 31. I just want everyone to know that he's 31. He turns 32 in December.
He is the 4th oldest receiver, I believe, in the NFL.
Is that really true?
It is.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Man. What happened to all the old people? Like, did they die? Like, good Lord.
They're gone, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked. I was completely shocked. It was like a post that I want to say NFL on Fox had to start the
Whoa.
season.
Okay.
And Adam
All
Thielen
right.
was first. So I was like, oh, what? Like Adam Thielen, he's only
Damn.
like 33. But anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we're talking about this old man. I mean,
So a
hey,
non-negotiable, just to clarify, a non-negotiable for you is if it's a first-round pick, when we do our next show, you are going to be an angry customer.
yes.
Okay.
Furious.
But if it's anything
Outrageous.
less than that, let's just say it's a second or anything, because like again, we're trying to leave the door open because I will also share. Not an NFL insider. I do not have that nugget either. What I will, and I'm about to say in a few minutes, is speculation. So okay, but if it's
Amari
anything less
Cooper
than a
went
first
for a
round,
fifth twice. Okay.
that's true. Yeah, Braille and
Um,
Edwards went for a third and a fifth. Antonio Holmes went for a fifth. Random people have gone for varying package. Brandon Marshall, way back in the day, he went for a fifth to the Jets.
I would say a third is my comfort.
That's your
zone.
comfort,
Maybe-
you're saying.
Yes, yes. Maybe a third and the no. Yeah, like a third. Yeah, a third. That's what
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah. Sure.
but a Kardashian size butt.
Wow. That's
They
massive.
need to eat as much of the contract as they can.
Can I just get a quick clarity? How did you use a Kardashian butt reference and then your next word was eat? I'm just kind of curious how that came about with the groceries. But anywho, go ahead. Yes. All right. They'd have to eat what now?
his contract. They gotta eat some of that money. We cannot destroy
How
the
much?
cap. That Joe Douglas has done such a masterful job protecting this cap so that he can resign. But now I don't even know. Now you guys don't even want to resign Garrett. He stinks. He's the worst player in the league. All that type
Okay.
of stuff. But I am trying to resign these guys and protect this cap. So I cannot have some 36 million old man crossing the street on this team. So they got to eat some of that.
I'm fine if they eat anything for this year. Like, to be honest, I don't care about the future. It's non-guaranteed. So, Wudi, actually, I'd like to make an announcement on the show. I would like to sign you to a 2-year deal for $1 billion. How does that sound, Wudi? How does that sound?
No, I understand. I understand what you're trying to say.
No. I just want to start there. How does that sound? Does that sound good to you?
It sounds great, Boy Green. Thank you.
A fine print. Before we sign the deal, I just want you to know that only $1 of it is guaranteed. But whoa, when we get to the first day of the new league year next year, you're going to get the rest of the $1 billion. I promise. Boy Scout honor. Oh, wait. I'm being told that you might not make it to the first day of the new league year, and thus you may never see that money. Oh well. That's what I'm saying. You're worrying a lot about this. Oh boy, that number in 2025. Oh wow, that number in 2026. I don't give a flying hoot about any of those numbers. It's like when we overreacted to Taysom Hill getting like a 3-year deal for $120 million. We all went, "Wow, the stupidest contract of all time." And then we just did one glance, just put the reading glasses up to the bridge of those. Went, oh, so like none of it's guaranteed. So it's a fugazi contract. Okay, like. What about this? We trade for Davante. They eat any money this year. Although, like we said, if you're just joining us, we have nearly 600 people in the room. Right now, he's owed $13.5 million for the rest of 2024, and then the following 2 years, he's owed $36 million and a quarter, $36 million and a quarter. So, if they eat anything this year, to me, that's gravy. That helps the Jets even more because they're trying to win the Super Bowl right now. Why not trade for it? Almost a contract as is, despite whatever they could potentially take this year. And then once we get to the offseason, whatever happens, win the Super Bowl, we don't win the Super Bowl, then we evaluate and say, okay, we're trading Davante Adams again. We're sending him off, or we re-sign him to a new deal, or we pair him with Aaron Rodgers. Like, we can figure all that out later. Why do we have to figure that out now? Let's let the nerds in the back of the cap room figure that out. It doesn't matter. That the $36 million is funny money. Worst case, we could even cut Davante Adams if we had this year, write it for what it is, and then just go. Because like the Jets gave up a future 3rd-round pick for Hassan Reddick that he may never show up for, and we let that 3rd-round pick off her. What's a 3rd-round pick at the end of the day when you're trying to do whatever you can to make some plays? That's just the thing. I think we're focusing a little bit too much on that money because to me, I don't think he ever sees that money, if I'm being honest.
Well, let's shout out Golden Robert real quick.
Okay, sure. A super
you're-
chat. So every
Yes.
time I get a super chat, got to hear from my daughter. So let's get a little Zariah Luna love in here.
Wow.
Booyah. Oh, actually, Woody, can I play one more video for you?
Sure.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, there he is. The Woody man. All right, let's go to Golden Robert here. A juicy golden super chat, which we appreciate. Thanks for the support on the show. Why trade if we can't snap the wall? Hal had his head up his ass. Safety blitz. I was there. Maybe you can interpret. Maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
The Brees, like that the run game has been non-existent. If there's one Jet that I feel like we overhyped, and this really physically pains me to finish this train of thought, especially because of the jersey that I was just wearing in the clip that you just played.
Oh no!
But I mean the running game, Brees, came in with 3.7 yards per carry, which is a terrible number, and then in that game had 0.4 yards per carry, like not 1 yard, not like less than half a yard per carry, and technically, if we can blame the coaches, right, for not putting the right person out there. But given what they called, Brees had 2 tries and failed both tries to run 1 yard.
At the 1 yard line. Yep. 100%.
So that, and I'm not saying, trade for Derrick Henry or something like that. But I am saying that Golden Robert is getting at, we have issues internally. Like we got issues in-house. Let's worry about this in-house. And that's the thing about your mindset of, oh yeah, it's just for 5 months. Like who cares? Like everybody in that locker room cares. I think that there's a chemistry issue of just, we're going to bring in this mercenary, we're going to bring in that mercenary. Every single one person that comes into that locker room shifts the locker room vibe. That should be an obvious concept. And I'm not saying that, Davante is a cancer. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's a change. They spent all this time building all this momentum with the guys that they have. They believed that these guys had what it takes, and I still believe. Nothing has changed that belief. I would have preferred, and this is why I would have preferred them playing in preseason to help work. Like they are working out the kinks in real time, so it looks real ugly. The same thing happened to Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their first 8 games were disgusting. We didn't know that they were going to win the Super. It didn't even look close to that. But they got it together and they were able, second half, boom, now they win a Super Bowl. I think that's what we're in right now. But New York is so impatient that after every single loss, everybody needs to get fired. Everybody needs to get traded. We need to bring in this person. And that's I don't think that's the way to be.
I see that Golden Robert, I think, is indicating sort of what you said earlier at the beginning of the show, is that, Paul, is Davante Adams the biggest need for this team? And so Golden Robert says here on the YouTube super chat, clink, clink. This is some hard gold right here. This is some hard gold here on the screen. He says, why trade if we can't snap the ball? Hall, and now I've interpreted it. Thank you, Woody, for that. Hall had his head up his ass on the blitz that came around the corner that Brees attempted to pass block in the middle. Now, I will give credit where credit's due on that, Golden Robert, that after the game, I listened to Brees Hall. He said his man was in the middle, and the middle, his guy ended up being swallowed up by the offensive line converging. So Brees said, well, my guy's covered. Let me try to find another guy. And that's when he saw the guy late and tried to go late. So he said, responsibility-wise, it wasn't his fault, but he still took accountability and blame for it. So take that for what you will. Maybe that won't matter to you. Maybe that will. I don't know all the, on every play, I'm not like, oh, I know Brees Hall's running a slant route. I don't know on every play what every guy's job or responsibility is. They haven't shown me the playbook yet. I guess me and the New York Jets aren't that close. So they have not showed me that yet. So I don't know. So take that for what you will in the second half of that. But to the point of why trade for him if we can't do blah? And that's how I'm going to interpret this, Golden Robert. Why do this if the offensive line can't protect Aaron Rodgers? Why do this if we can't create a pass rush and we don't have this? Why does every move that is addressed have to be the number one move? Wouldn't this help? Wouldn't bringing in Davante help A, B, C? Obviously, me and Woody have different interpretations of what we believe the needs are in the wide receiver room. But for me, I think Davante would be a dramatic help. Why not have if we're at, I'm trying to evaluate it. So if our wide receiver room is full, let's say it's perfect, like not perfect. It's like a cup of water. The cup is full. Like, could I put a little more water in there? Sure, but there's enough water in the cup. Why not have more water in the cup? If there's room for more water and you can improve, like, you're not perfect. The wide receiver room is fine, but if you could be incrementally better in a year that you're going all in, why wouldn't you attempt to do that? And to me, I think I'm even downplaying the Davante Adams impact. I think it'd be more than just a little bit of water if he suddenly was added to the team. I think it would be a dramatic difference. He has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers that Garrett Wilson probably, if we're being honest, will never have, because there's not going to be enough time for them to get on that level of the same page that years and years and years of practice and everything else would get, as Davante showed that one example before of in 2022, you ran this play and you looked left. I wanted you to look right. Let's run that back. I think at the end of the day, Davante Adams would make a dramatic impact, and maybe that lessens some of the other things. Maybe if Davante Adams is just wide open, we've had the blitzing that the Jets did not handle very well against Denver. Guess what? Minnesota, the Vikings, who they play next, are the number 2 blitzing team in the league. Brian Flores is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink of my mama at Aaron Rodgers this week. So if the blitzes are coming, the important thing for Aaron Rodgers is, where the hell is my hot route? Because you're getting the ball, baby. And Davante Adams, although it seems very unlikely that this, I don't want to say anything. I guess maybe the trade could happen. They leave on Thursday, and this could happen really quick. But just as a random example, like, you want to know where your hot route is, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are on such a level of chemistry that he'd be able to dump it off to him very quickly and just make plays. And if Davante Adams is operating at the level I think he is, that will open up things for Garrett Wilson. Apparently, as Woody calls him, the greatest wide receiver of all time, and his bust in Canton is already secured. Maybe things would open up a little bit for Garrett Wilson, so the quarterback he's facing this week isn't too hard for him. Maybe it would be if Davante Adams was on the team and drawing some attention away, and then it's perfect for everybody. If Davante Adams is drawing attention, those are one-on-one matchups with Garrett. Those are one-on-one matchups in space with Breece Hall, and now we're going through the full gambit. Maybe, just maybe, it's not the number one issue with the team at wide receiver, but sure as hell, some of the other issues, it would help by proxy because of the arrival of Davante Adams. Look at that beautiful diatribe I just provided you. You're welcome.
Was it beautiful, or was it just a load of malarkey? An absolute load of malarkey. And you know what? You know, with the water, I don't think it's a cup. I think it's a balloon. And sometimes you make too many moves. You make too many moves, and that balloon bursts. So I think that if Joe Douglas trusts himself and the team that he crafted, then they should roll with it with this team. Like I said, Mike Williams, he is getting better. Like, I don't think you guys are seeing the future.
But what if he gets hurt? What if he has a complication? So Mike Williams, I agree. We're both on the same page. He's getting better. He's getting more reps. What if he has a slip up? And then all of a sudden, Mike Williams is removed from the team, and you have Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and our good old buddy Xavier Gibson again. Davante Adams also provides insurance. So you have one more extra layer of protection at an elite level at the wide receiver position. And again, you're trying to win it all. Like, you add him to the team, one more injury doesn't completely destroy you. You're protected. You're like, oh, well, that's okay because we have A, B, C, D. Look at the Chiefs, for God's sake. Their entire team is imploding, and somehow they're still 4-0. They keep finding the right people to step up. What would be wrong with that, of having one additional
What are you
guy?
talking about? Did they trade for how did the Chiefs tie in to what you're saying? What do you mean? Did they trade for Davante?
Well, they have an injury.
Should the Jets trade for Pat Surtain just in case Sauce gets hurt? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? No.
By the way, let's throw this super chat up real quick. It's sort of random. It has nothing to do with what you're saying, but I do want to make sure we get it in. So a quick shout out here to
Robert.
My daughter. Yeah, Golden Robert is going deep in the pool.
Wow.
WOW, Golden Robert says, do you know the last time Rodgers had 0 touchdowns was? 2010, 9-0, Halloween game. Yes, we lost home. Of course, that was against the Jets. That was in MetLife Stadium. Yeah, there was still MetLife at the time. Yeah, there was a MetLife Stadium, and the Jets lost 9-0. I remember that game vividly, unfortunately, because the Jets got the bone end of a rule that was a simultaneous possession. The Jets shouldn't have thrown 2 picks in those scenarios. If you get simultaneous possession, it's supposed to go to the offense, not the defense. Yet twice the Jets were screwed and gave up 2 picks that were not really picks, and they lost that game. And the Jets were supposed to play Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl that year. Jets, of course, we know what happened in that AFC Championship game, and they would have gotten the rematch with Aaron Rodgers, and how would that have been for history? That would have been pretty damn interesting. So I appreciate the fun fact there, Golden Robert. So, no touchdowns for old Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. I would just say in general, a random diatribe on that. Thank you for the super chat, Golden Robert. I think how I interpret Sunday is obviously it sucked, but to me, it's a game that it was just kind of, everyone has a game like that. The weather was terrible. The coaching was terrible. The players didn't execute. And you kind of put all that together and you found a way to lose a game. You obviously, wow, she's excited. You found a way to lose a game that you shouldn't have. And people, and look at the NFL, teams have lost games they shouldn't have all the time. Now, we go to Vikings land and things happen. Okay, we could have a different conversation. But to me, what the Denver game was just a loser game with loser weather, and the Jets sucked and blew it. But it's one game. That's kind of how I pocket it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fart.
Okay, that's another way
to
put it.
Sure. And that's what I'm trying to explain, was that these happen with teams that have so many moving pieces. I just don't want to add another moving piece, right? It's the offense that has how many new starters this season, right? And even for the starters that have been here, like a Garrett or a Brees, right? It's their first season with Rodgers at the helm. And they've been running everything at half speed this whole time, thinking that they were, the greatest show on turf. And they are realizing very quickly that that is not the case. So I just don't think it makes sense as they're figuring things out to throw a huge, like this isn't, just, let's sign depth. We're going to pick up, Robbie Anderson. I saw that somebody said that in the comments, to get somebody. No, we're talking about one of the biggest names in football. We're going to throw extra media circus, all that type of stuff in there while they're trying to figure this out. I just think it's actually counterproductive. Like if Davante Adams, for some odd reason, was a free agent, I would still be hesitant. Obviously, probably worth the signing for the right price. But I would still be hesitant because of the factors that go into championship team building, and chemistry matters. Of course, that don't matter to you, Boy Green. That don't matter when you playing Madden, right? You can add anybody to the team. They still, they're 89 on that team. They're still 89 on this team, right? It's there's no human element to these video games, but in real life, things like that matter. So I have faith in the team that was set forth, and they're only going to get better, just like the teams that I stated in the past.
It's true that chemistry in the locker room is important. If you bring in the wrong apple and the wrong guy, maybe demanding targets or what have you, that it could disrupt things. I just feel like this has been talked about for so long. And Garrett Wilson's been asked a million times in a million interviews, how would it be like playing with Davante Adams and the benefits he could get from playing with Davante? And then obviously what we're talking about here with the preordained relationship that exists between Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I just see the benefits a lot more than the cons of like, oh boy, we got a guy who hasn't been around in years, got to get familiar with the offense and things of that nature. Like he knows Hackett too. He was there with Hackett and Rodgers and everybody, like they were all together. So it seems like the learning curve would be shortened, that it'd be less of a, if we're trying for, like, let's make it Amari Cooper, who I've heard some Jet fans talk about, a guy who also could be on the trade block. Like, as far as I know, and I could be, and I'm not being an asshole here, I could be missing it. Like, maybe he has some schematic knowledge of what the Jets do, but off the top of my head, he does not. So that could be a lot more difficult. A random guy coming in who's super I freaking love Amari Cooper. He's one of the best route runners I've ever seen. I love Amari Cooper. But, like, that fit with a guy like Garrett and how he's going to fit in the locker room, that fit of offensive philosophy, that connection with Aaron Rodgers, where it's literally a random guy, all things considered, that Aaron Rodgers has never played with, that I can see what your case is, what your pitch is of like, boy, we better think twice about making a move like this because this could kind of tank things and make things uncomfortable. Because Amari has shown in the past as a random example of a guy, if he's not getting the rock in the way that he should be, then he gets like upset. And again, I'm not trying to pick on Amari. Anybody might be in that situation, but that's a point where, oh boy, things can go south quick if you get a losing streak and this guy is in the locker room and you don't really know him as a teammate and things of that nature. I just feel like it would be different with Davante because of his reputation. It's like when Aaron Rodgers came in and he put the Super Bowl ring on the table. We're like, whoa, that's Aaron Rodgers. There's instant credibility. There's instant 4-time NFL MVP, all that stuff. Davante Adams is one of the best receivers in the NFL. So as soon as he walks in the room, there's a level of respect and leeway that comes in with a guy like that walking into the locker room like, damn, that's Davante. Okay, we do as Davante Adams does. He's Aaron Rodgers of the wide receiver room. Like, this guy's done it for a long time. He's had a lot of success, different schemes, different systems, and like, he's just that guy. That to me is part of the reason that I'm a little bit on the, not a little bit, to put it lightly, I'm on the opposite side of you as it pertains to this take.
Definitely, pretty much on the complete opposite, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it's time to hear from your daughter one more time.
Yeah, let's do it. Golden Robert is dipping his toe back in once again. He got his allowance this week, baby, and we love it.
Wow.
For unloading the piggy bank, Golden Robert. I appreciate you. The wrong guy is Coach Salah. And let's be real. I don't know what, again, this is a random super chat. Me and Golden Robert did not talk before the show. Hey, at 3:42, make sure you send this super chat in. I have no idea what's going to happen, so I have no idea how Woody's going to answer this. I, myself, am a massive Robert Saleh supporter. I love Saleh. I love the family. I love, just how, again, I don't know him personally, but just kind of knowing him and seeing him in interviews and when he talks about personal stuff and football, like, I like the guy. The guy is a super nice guy. He seems like a really cool dude. And obviously the defensive juice and the passion he brings, I'm a passionate guy too. So that's something that resonates with me. Sunday was concerning, but it's not the first time I've been concerned about Coach Saleh stuff in terms of that game management and personnel usage and, making sure we don't have an Adam Gase, Greg Williams thing where Adam Gase, I'm head coach of offense. Greg Williams, you are head coach of defense. And then we all figure it out. Like, I hate that. So like that line of separation sucks. So there are a lot of things that made it bizarre for me, but kind of to what Woody said earlier about, not overreacting to things. Let's see what Saleh does. This is his first year ever with a legitimate quarterback as a head coach. They're 4 games in. They've won 2. They've lost 2. Now the Jets lost one. Like, if we're being honest, one we all thought we were going to get against Denver. Can they get one that some people don't think they're going to get? The Vikings, everyone's crowning as the best team in the NFL, who, again, I can't say it enough. I thought very highly of the Vikings. I had them in the Super Bowl before the year started. So I thought they were going to be pretty good, even though a lot of people thought it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So can they get that one? People are crowning them the best team in the NFL. Can the Jets go into London and beat the Minnesota Vikings? I don't think a lot of people are expecting that. The Jets are an underdog in that game. Or Bills at home on Monday Night Football or whatever. Pick your random games in the schedule. Can the Jets now get one that they weren't supposed to and kind of even the playing field? All right, we lost against Broncos, but hey, we beat the undefeated Vikings or whatever the game is. I think that to me is a big question. So a lot of people have said, fire Saleh on this. I don't believe firing Saleh is even on the radar at all for the New York Jets, nor should it be.
The original topic, pull the curtain back, the production meeting for Boy Green and I was to say, who are we pointing the finger at? And the whole reason that I was hyped for that episode was to defend Robert Saleh. Had a whole soliloquy to defend that man. And, he is, in my personal opinion, the reason why we even feel as good about this team. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, brings it to another level. But that basis that Rodgers was even wanting to come here is from Saleh's work with the defense and just the mindset that, the locker room that he's cultivated. So I will have to pleasantly be surprised that I don't have to argue with Boy Green about that.
Wow, go figure. Hey, I've got some trivia for you. Are you ready, Woody? I got some trivia for you. I kind of want to see what you have here. Actually, I have trivia music, so like I didn't know I was actually. Yeah, I've never really used this before, so I got to make sure I turn it down. But okay, trivia.
Yeah,
here it is. Okay, Garrett Wilson last season ranked 5th among all wide receivers and tight ends in open score. That's, again, the ability to get open, basically in layman's terms, okay? Where do you believe he ranks through the first 4 games of the season? Again, last year, Garrett Wilson ranked 5th among all wide receivers and tight ends in open score. Again, the ability to get open. Where do you believe through the first month of the season Garrett Wilson ranks?
This is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music.
That it is. Very dramatic.
I usually have multiple choice, but it's all right. I'm gonna go.
No multiple choice.
No choice. I'm gonna go with 67th.
Close. 71st.
Oh my God. Yo, I was actually gonna say that's crazy.
That would have been
I was
10.
literally going to say 71st, and then I was like, nah, I don't think he's in the 70s. So let me bump it up. Oh wow, that's unbelievable. But okay.
How about this? He is tied with fellow Jets receiver Alan Lazard, who is also 71st. Come on, man. I mean, for Garrett, what I'm trying to do here is just to say, step the hell up, man. For God's sakes, what the hell? Like, that has nothing to do with quarterback. Like, your open score has nothing to do with quarterbacks. That's on you. That's you one-on-one getting open. Because, like, the stat that we showed was like, oh, well, Garrett Wilson's open all the time. Come on, quarterbacks, find him. Like, this year, 71st. 71st for old Garrett.
So that's what I'm saying. The year's not over. Imagine
if
every movie would just ended in 10 minutes. That's what Boy Green's doing right now.
That'd be a short movie.
I just also want to say I apologize to those that are dealing with my cousin in the chat.
I see that.
He is infiltrated. Don't even we don't talk to bottom feeders. Literally absolute bottom of the barrel. Couldn't be lower in the standings. The New York Jets. For all the misery, all the pain that we've been enduring these last, 48 hours, are still just one game back from the division lead. Remember that. Just one game back. The entire AFC East lost, okay? So the Bills, that's the only team that matters to us, because it doesn't seem like the Dolphins are going to do anything, and we already know that the Pats are an absolute just garbage franchise, just a dumpster fire of a franchise that has no idea what they're doing. So just wanted to say that so that you can turn your frowns upside down.
Hey, by the way, speaking of all that, I just want to thank, the gods, quite frankly, and Nick Shine and you, Wudi, for picking the right game to go to. Can you imagine if we went to Jets Broncos in the pouring rain and we see a 10-9 loss, and we wouldn't have experienced things like this? And then watching the Jets kick open up a can of whoop ass on the New England Patriots and your poor cousin who kept getting up for breaks. I assume it was to cry. People tell me it was for food and drink, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But he got up several times from the game to do that. Shout out to the 700 people in the room that are watching right now. Like the video, hit subscribe. Me and Wudi are live together every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. This Thursday, we have a very special Minnesota Vikings insider that'll be joining us to help us preview the game in London, of course, that'll be coming up, which is going to be awesome. So I can't wait. And I'm live every day at 7:30 in the morning. We'll have Nick Ferry, a Jets reporter, on tomorrow morning, I'm sure, to talk about a variety of topics, including this one. But Wudi, before we sign off for an extended edition of Boy Green Meets Wudi, what are your final thoughts on this Davante Adams rumor? And real quick, I'm not going to play all the videos, but I'll just run it through real quick. Again, the Raiders are now open to trading him, according to a Raiders insider. They have now flipped the script, and they themselves have started gauging teams' interest in a potential trade. That's number one. Davante Adams has opened the door himself, saying that I can't control whether or not I'm going to be moved. We'll see what happens. So, and the top of the show, NFL insider James Palmer, formerly of the NFL Network, now with Underdog Fantasy and does some stuff for Bleacher Report as well, is reporting that the Jets are a front runner to land Davante Adams via trade. The NFL trade deadline is a little more than a month away. It's November 5th. Today is October 1st. So with all that being said, there's the context of the situation, but any final thoughts on this, on the Davante Adams trade situation and the Jets as a possibility?
Yeah, I'll say let's get a pass rusher. All right, let's do that.
Why not both?
Yeah, let's get a pass rusher. You know, we are cool how it is. I can't wait for Mike Will. Alan Lazard. All right, see. Sometimes when I talk, y'all need to listen because I've been telling you from the get go. But you guys don't want to listen. You're like my kids, just toddlers running around. I'm telling you not to run with scissors. You're running with scissors. Next thing you know, now a scissor is in somebody's knee. And hey, if you had listened to me, there'd be no scissors in knees. All right, that's what I'm saying right now. If you had listened to me before, you wouldn't be so surprised by Alan Lazard. I'm telling you right now, you just need a pass rusher. Appreciate you, Roger F, for the 2 likes. And Terrence, you're 100% right. I will be on the full 1-1 this Friday. So yes, definitely catch your boy. We'll be breaking it down, but I'm definitely excited to talk Vikings this Thursday, especially since a man whose jersey is currently in my closet will be playing this Sunday. Somebody who I never, ever wanted the Jets to get rid of, but they disrespected this man. They lied to his parents to the face. They lied to them. So you know, we're gonna talk about him, and we're gonna talk about that team.
All right, I have an uncomfortable thing to admit. I don't know if it's uncomfortable. I'll let you guys know. But if you ever get invited to my house, if you want to, or if you ever somehow stumble here and go, how did I get to Boy Green's house? However it happens, and you're walking through, right? So right in front of me is a hallway. It goes this way. Okay, it goes this way. You keep walking down the hall. You see all these cool Jets hats on the wall. Wow, what a very respectable collection. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, between all these hats, who the hell is that? Someone turn on a light. Boop. Sam Darnold. I have a Sam Darnold full-size fat head in the middle of my hallway still. You know, I don't like getting rid of things. And, you know, Sam Darnold's doing well, although that's been there from when he's done well and when he hasn't done well. He moved from the man cave to, well, let's move him down the hallway. There we go. That's a safe place for him in the middle of all my hats. So Sam Darnold is also in my hallway, and he watches me take a piss in the bathroom every once in a while. So thank you, Sam, for that uncomfortable reality. But it is true that Sam Darnold is there. And shout out, by the way, to DeFore11 himself, Uncle Tio, who also is giving a shout out that the man, the myth, the legend, James Wudi, will be on the 411 on New York Sports on Friday at 6 o'clock. Guys, you guys can check out their YouTube channel. Make sure you do it. We talked about it this morning on Boy Green Daily as well. So make sure you guys go check it out. And my final thoughts here on the Davante Adams thing. Obviously, I'm on the opposite side of this than Wudi. I would love Davante Adams, and in terms of trade comp, I'd be willing to talk seconds and thirds and like combinations, and maybe they send us picks. Like we can try to work it out. I agree with Wudi. I would not like to give up a first-round pick. That feels aggressive. The only way, and I wouldn't want to do this under any circumstances, but the only way I'd even think about doing a first-rounder is if somehow the contract was completely shredded up. Like we're talking about a brand new thing, and that $36 million. Not happening, Davante. Screw that. Whoop, wipe that from the board. And we're talking about a brand new 3-year deal with much less money, and we're tying it with Rodgers, and then Rodgers commits to him that, we're going to play the next 3 years together. Something crazy like that. And even then, I don't think I'm willing to do it. So I'm in the day 2 ballpark of combination of, and let's figure it out from there. To me, I would be willing to do it. I think it would have a dramatic impact on the overall team. His chemistry would be felt immediately the moment he'd come over, and he'd be like Kevin Nash in wrestling, who's on the wheelchair and he flips over the blanket and he steps up. He has a hamstring injury right now. He's week to week. The power of Jesus would suddenly allow Davante to jump out of the wheelchair, and he's walking again. Like, Davante, you can walk? He's going to be back and better than ever the moment he gets dealt to the New York Jets. And I think a big piece of the puzzle for this potential trade is the additional third-round pick the Jets got from the savvy move that Joe Douglas deserves credit for, the Detroit Lions, where they allowed the Lions to take one of their fourths, and they got a future third, which would be 2025. I think that would be the centerpiece of a potential Davante Adams deal, which if that were to happen, Joe Douglas would deserve all kinds of flowers for flipping a pick that didn't exist before in the Jets lottery system to exist, to be a part of that trade to make it happen. So I would be absolutely all for it, and we will see. James Palmer, by the way, if you go check out his full live stream, he talked about that this could be a trade that goes down very quickly, or it could be a trade that takes a little while. And you could say, well, that's obvious. He just established both possibilities as possibilities, but he kind of explained the why on why it could be quick or why it could take a while, which I'm kind of fascinated by. So this will be a story to watch. There's no doubt about it. Wudi, a terrific show, nearly an hour. And shout out to the 700 people live. And I know there's a ton that watch shows after the fact, which I always really cherish and appreciate as well. So Wudi, these are fun shows. We got a lot of fun stuff cooking on this show for people here in the very near future.
Absolutely. I just got to double down. The comments are blowing up like they always do. We love it. We love you. Besides my cousin. But I have to double down on what Uncle Tio said, the 411. If Davante Adams is a Patriot, I will have to dress up as a Patriot Pat costume. Like, yo, are you for real? Do you really think that's going to happen?
Okay, let me ask you something, actually, Wudi. Let me ask you something. Okay.
Yes.
So you said you're not willing to give up a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if you find out, right? Like, for instance, the tweet, I'll never forget when I was in front of the computer, I was shaking like, oh, my God, are we about to get Tyreek Hill? I'm like, oh, my God. The report comes out. It's Jets-Dolphins. The race is on. And you're like, oh, my God. It's not just it's the race is on between the Jets and the Cowboys. It's a division rival. It's a conference rival. Like, one of you two are getting an all-pro, game-changing wide receiver. If the tweet comes out, Jets or Bills, somebody's getting Davante Adams. Would that make you pay the price? To me, I'm like, so what was their offer? Yeah, I'll go 1 penny more. I'll get in the auction. Yeah, like, 2024, 2024, 2024, and there we go, 2024, 2024, and all of a sudden, like, bidding war ensues. Like, I don't want. Could you imagine Buffalo Bills getting some Davante Adams? We have to see that bastard twice.
With Josh Allen,
that's what I'm saying. Like, so would you be willing to pay a higher price if you keep him out of the hands of a rival? Now, maybe not New England, who sucks, but like Buffalo, who's a really good team, and they get Davante and they're right in your face? That might be something I'm willing to pay a higher premium for.
I cannot lie. If Davante Adams went to the Bills, that would be a tragedy. That would literally 100%. Be like the worst thing that could happen. So to answer your question, would it drive up the price? Yes, it would. All right.
And you'd be willing to pay the potential driven up price.
I mean, like I said, first round pick is still, but they didn't even offer a first round pick for Tyreek, and it was accepted.
That's true.
The Jets.
We got 2 seconds.
Yeah. So hopefully, and like Davante's older, like there's a
correct.
Yes. So, I think the Bills. That's a team. How I see it this season, there are only 2 teams in the AFC East: the Jets and the Bills. The other 2 teams literally do not matter. So if the Bills are, front runners, I cannot give Josh Allen that weapon. No. So yes, we would have to drive up the price.
Okay. So things could get spicy again. As James Palmer, me and him were actually DMing because that thing started blowing up that I tweeted out about the video that you guys saw at the beginning of the show. We were kind of DMing, and I don't want to share too many trade secrets here, but obviously the Jets are not the only team that are going to be in the mix for Davante. It's not just the Jets and everyone else is quiet. Like, let's just let Davante to the Jets happen. Like, no, other teams are going to be in the mix. So the Jets just have to. Hopefully, Joe Douglas has little birdies all across the league, and he's like, "Oh shoot, the Bills are in the mix. This team is in the mix."
Well, and Rover brings up a great point. If I'm Davante, I mean, I know where I'm trying to go. They just lost Rashid. So
but he wouldn't. Let's clear this up. The Raiders would never trade him inside the division. There was no price the Chiefs could pay that they'd be like, yeah, AFC West, sure, take Davante. So like, let's end that noise right now. Sure, in Madden, yeah, Davante and Patrick Mahomes would be freaking awesome. There is no way on this blue earth. That's a good point. I don't care if they say 10 first round. There's no way in hell. But no, to your point though, of like, will they give Tyreek Hill or Davante Adams, the same package as Tyreek Hill, where the Chiefs went, I don't give a fly, excuse my Guatemala, I don't give a flying fuck. Play for the Dolphins or the Jets. We don't give a shit. Pick. Dolphins, what's your offer? Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Jets, what's your offer? All right, that sounds pretty good. All right, Tyreek, go ahead, pick. Yeah, we'll cover our eyes here. Let us know when you pick. Like, are they going to do that for Davante and pick like 3, 4, 5 teams? They all give him their best offer. It's this, that. It's like, Davante, pick wherever you want. And then where does he pick? Yeah, maybe that happens, but we'll see what happens.
He would probably pick the Jets in that.
That's what I would say with the Aaron Rodgers related. I would assume so, but you never know. Anywho, wild show, Woody. A lot of fun. Again, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Unless some breaking news happens, maybe we'll be back sooner. But we will be back tomorrow morning for a Boy Green Daily. And again, I will be with Woody with our Minnesota Vikings Insider on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Hopefully you guys can join us there. And of course, Woody will be with me on my Boy Green Daily morning show on game day, which will be a live pregame show before we get to Jets Vikings London. There's a lot to get to, Woody, but appreciate you popping on as always, brother.
Absolutely. Definitely. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the boy who became king right here. Love talking with y'all, and we'll see what happens. It's time to jet up, baby.
Good conversation. It got spicy. We'll see you.